Ladies, have you ever looked at your life and wondered, is there more on my life than meets the eye? Have you felt a quiet strength inside you, even when everything around you seemed to be falling apart? You're not just strong, you're favored. In this powerful message, we're diving into 7 undeniable signs that you are a woman set apart, positioned, and divinely equipped for more. These are the signs that can't be faked, forced, or fabricated. If you've ever questioned your worth, your path, or your purpose, this video is your confirmation. Stay with me until the end, because every point builds on the next, and I promise, by the time we're done, you'll see yourself with new eyes. Get ready to be affirmed, awakened, and aligned. There is a certain kind of peace that cannot be explained by logic or circumstance. It's the kind that silences storms without ever saying a word. It is stillness in the soul, even when the world around is unraveling. A woman favored by God doesn't just experience this peace. She carries it. It marks her. It sets her apart. It's not the absence of hardship, disappointment, or pressure. No. She knows trials. She knows what it's like to cry in silence, to hold it together when everything inside is breaking, to walk through valleys that others wouldn't survive. And yet, through it all, there is a steady calm that shields her from total collapse. This peace is not ordinary. It's not something she created by her own will. It's deeper than positive thinking or self-discipline. This is peace that settles over her life like a cloak, shielding her from panic when others fall apart. While others ask, "How are you still standing?" she quietly continues, not with boastfulness, but with the quiet strength of someone who knows she is held by something greater than herself. A woman favored doesn't always avoid the storm, but she knows how to walk through it with grace. Her calm spirit becomes a testimony in itself. In moments when finances run low, when relationships feel strained, when uncertainty clouds her future, she is not shaken. Her peace isn't tied to the paycheck or the perfect plan. It's rooted in something eternal, something unshakable. While fear tries to whisper lies into her ear, she listens to a deeper voice, the one that reminds her she is not forgotten, not abandoned, not overlooked. That assurance anchors her, and so she does not flinch. This is the kind of peace that shows up in the hospital room when the doctor delivers a diagnosis. It's the kind of peace that lets her sleep at night when everyone else is tossing and turning. It's the peace that lets her raise her children with confidence, even when she doesn't have all the answers. She might feel the weight, but she doesn't buckle under it. That's not natural strength. It's evidence of favor. Others may look at her and think she has an easy life, but the truth is, she's simply mastered the art of walking through fire without smelling like smoke. Her spirit doesn't carry bitterness. Her eyes are not clouded by fear. Her smile is not forced. It flows from a well that never runs dry. That kind of peace isn't for sale. It's not taught. It's given. And it becomes a signature of the life she lives. A favored woman doesn't need everything to be perfect to be at peace. Her peace is what makes everything else come into alignment. People feel it when she walks into the room. Children calm down in her presence. Her friends call her when they're in crisis. Not because she always has the answers, but because her very presence reminds them that answers exist. She doesn't react to pressure. She responds with wisdom. She doesn't panic. She prays in silence and moves with discernment. Her life is proof that chaos can be happening all around, and yet not be allowed inside. She is unbothered in a world that constantly demands stress and fear. She is composed while others compete. She is confident in what she carries. Her peace isn't passive, it's powerful. It doesn't ignore reality, it reframes it. And because of that, no matter what season she finds herself in, she always seems to walk with something unexplainable, that unshakable, quiet stillness. That's not coincidence. That's favor. There is a distinct difference between someone who hustles endlessly for every opportunity and someone who walks into rooms they never expected but were always destined for. A woman favored by God doesn't need to beg, strive, or push her way into spaces. Doors open for her, often without warning, often without explanation. The very paths others toil over for years seem to part for her, not because she is better, louder, or more visible, but because favor goes before. There are moments in her life where connections come out of nowhere, where promotions find her without campaigning, where opportunities seem to track her down instead of the other way around. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. She's not the kind who chases spotlight or applause, and yet somehow she ends up in positions of influence. She doesn't build her life on manipulation or endless self-promotion, but her name ends up in rooms where she's never set foot. Favor whispers her name in the ears of decision makers. He is helping people. She lives with the confidence of someone who knows that when a door is meant for her, no one can shut it, and when a door is not hers, no amount of effort can make it open. A favored woman understands the rhythm of grace. She knows how to wait without growing bitter, and how to walk through the right doors when they swing open, because she also has discernment. She doesn't just walk through any door. She walks through the right ones, the kind that align with her calling, protect her peace, and position her for impact. She's not desperate for every invitation because she knows some open doors are distractions in disguise. That's the difference. She's not just surrounded by options. She's guided to purpose. Many people confuse hustle with favor. They believe if they just work hard enough, they'll reach the top. But while work is important, it's not what opens divine doors. A favored woman doesn't rely solely on what her resume says. She relies on what has already been written over her life, assignments that were marked out before she ever knew them. She walks into rooms unqualified by earthly standards, but chosen for spiritual significance. Where others have credentials, she has calling. Where others have experience, she has timing. And somehow, that makes all the difference. Doesn't mean she's passive. It doesn't mean she lacks ambition. But her ambition is surrendered, not scattered. She knows where to pour her energy and when to be still. She's learned the sacred balance between preparation and patience. While others are forcing their way into rooms, she's getting ready for the moment she's called in. That's why when the door opens, she doesn't stumble through it. She walks through like it was made for her, because it was. People often ask her, "How did this happen for you?" But the truth is, she couldn't map it out if she tried. Some of the doors she walked through should have belonged to someone else, based on the world's standards. But favor doesn't follow the rules. Favor doesn't check credentials. Favor opens what effort alone cannot. And so she lives a life marked by divine appointments. Not just once or twice, but repeatedly. It becomes a pattern. People around her begin to take notice. They may call it luck, but she knows it's something much deeper. She's not intimidated by closed doors because she's seen too many open without warning. She's not jealous of someone else's path because she knows the doors designed for her can't be stolen, delayed, or denied. That confidence keeps her from settling, from shrinking, from striving. She simply stays ready because she knows when the moment is right, when the assignment aligns, when the season shifts, doors will open. And when they do, she'll walk through like she always knew it was hers. A woman favored by God doesn't just attract people. She attracts purpose-lined relationships. Her connections aren't accidental. The people drawn to her life are reflections of her assignment. While others are surrounded by noise, competition, and comparison, she finds herself surrounded by voices of clarity, truth, and peace. This isn't just about friendships or community. It's about divine alignment. There's a difference between a crowd and a circle, and a favored woman knows how to tell the difference. She understands that not everyone who claps for her is connected to her destiny, so she's intentional about who has access to her heart, her space, and her time. Over the years, she's learned that favor attracts both light and shadows, but wisdom helps her discern which is which. She doesn't entertain relationships that drain her soul. She doesn't make space for voices that stir confusion, chaos, or compromise. Instead, her life is filled with relationships that feed her spirit, sharpen her purpose, and keep her grounded. These aren't perfect people, but they are purposeful people. They speak life when she forgets who she is. They hold her accountable when she starts to drift. They don't just celebrate her when she wins. They stand with her when she struggles. She doesn't chase connection. She doesn't force people to stay. She understands that when favor is on your life, the right people are drawn to you, and the wrong people eventually fall away. That pruning doesn't shake her, it frees her. She's seen how divine alignment protects her from distraction and prepares her for impact. The people in her life don't just love her, they see her. They recognize the weight of what she carries, and they honor it. In return, she is loyal, generous, and discerning. She doesn't take her relationships lightly because she knows they are part of her journey, part of her story. These purpose-slant relationships are not always many, but they are mighty. They keep her anchored when the winds of life blow hard. They remind her that she's not building alone, that she's part of something bigger, that she is not just favored but surrounded. And in a world full of shallow connections, that kind of alignment is rare. It's not the result of chance. It's a mark of divine favor. A woman favored by God does not escape pain, but she refuses to be defined by it. Life has handed her storms, betrayals, losses, and disappointments. But instead of becoming bitter, she becomes better. Instead of allowing pain to harden her heart, she allows it to refine her spirit. She has discovered the sacred art of turning pain into power. Her scars are not shameful. They are sacred testimonies. She doesn't hide what she's been through. She lets it speak. And when it does, it brings healing to others. What was meant to break her only built her. She has cried tears that no one saw, whispered prayers in the dark, and walked through seasons where she felt invisible. But through it all, something inside her grew stronger. She learned how to rise without resentment, how to forgive when she had every right not to, how to rebuild when everything seemed lost. That resilience isn't just personality, it's divine preparation. Her pain became the training ground for her strength. Her heartbreak became the birthplace of her voice. Her lowest valleys became the foundation of her deepest wisdom. People may look at her today and see the confidence, the grace, the wisdom, but they often don't see the process that produced it. She didn't arrive here overnight. She bled in silence. She grew through warfare. She was tested in ways most wouldn't survive. But she didn't just survive, she transformed. She became a woman who walks with power, not because of ease, but because of endurance. Pain didn't steal her softness, it deepened her compassion. It didn't make her cynical, it sharpened her discernment. It didn't silence her, it gave her something to say. She now walks with an authority that only comes from lived experience. She doesn't speak from theory, she speaks from the fire she walked through, and that authenticity makes her dangerous to the darkness. Her presence becomes healing. Her voice carries weight, not because she has all the answers, but because she's been in the depths and came out with treasure. My father speaks of her knifely. Lena Vosavich says, Lechna Rojaffa was a goddess. That's the power of a woman who has turned her pain into purpose. She carries the kind of strength that can't be imitated or taught. It's earned, it's refined, and it is a mark of divine favor. A woman favored by God carries an unusual kind of wisdom, one that far exceeds her age, her education, or her experience. It's not loud or flashy, but it carries weight. She doesn't speak often, but when she does, people listen. Her words don't just fill space, they shift atmospheres. This wisdom isn't something she read in a book or picked up from a conference. It's been deposited in her spirit through seasons of stillness, moments of surrender, and time spent seeking answers not from the world, but from a deeper source. She doesn't always know how she knows what she knows, but when the moment calls for insight, it flows from her like a river. People come to her with confusion and leave with clarity. They bring their chaos, and somehow her presence slows everything down. She asks the right questions. She sees the hidden patterns. She senses motives before they're revealed. This is not because she's perfect or always gets it right, but because she's in tune with something beyond the surface. She's not caught up in appearances. She looks deeper. She listens differently. She watches not just what is said, but what is not said. She says this, if anything, biologics and science are not infinite. Mankind is made by expert effort. If anything, by loss and grief and injury comes differently and hundredly from the mind of an. She has the kind of wisdom that protects her from traps others walk straight into. She doesn't move off emotion or impulse. She moves off discernment. She takes time to weigh decisions in prayer, not panic. She knows timing is just as important as truth. She knows when to speak and when to stay silent. She knows when to move forward and when to stand still. And even when others try to rush her, She's grounded because she's not led by pressure, she's led by peace. This wisdom has spared her from unnecessary heartache. It has kept her from aligning with the wrong people. It has helped her walk away from situations that looked good on the surface, but were hollow underneath. It has allowed her to build her life with intention, not reaction. She doesn't follow trends, she follows truth. And because of that, her life has fruit. The things she touches grow. The advice she gives bears results. The counsel she offers is trusted because it's rooted not in ego, but in discernment. Others may be more charismatic, more connected, or more celebrated, but when real decisions need to be made, people find their way to her. Because favor doesn't always look like a spotlight. Sometimes it looks like a quiet woman sitting in the back, holding answers no one else thought to ask for. And when the moment comes, her wisdom speaks volumes. It doesn't demand attention, it earns it. And when it shows up, things change. That's the signature of divine wisdom. And when it rests on a woman, it becomes one of the clearest signs she is walking in divine favor. A woman favored by God does not need to raise her voice to be heard. Her authority is not in her volume, but in her presence. When she walks into a room, things shift. Not because she demands attention, but because she carries something undeniable. Her spirit speaks before her words ever do. She is the kind of woman who doesn't have to compete, doesn't have to prove, and doesn't need applause to validate her worth. There is a quiet confidence in her that disarms pride and silences confusion. She carries herself with grace, and yet there is a strength underneath that grace that cannot be overlooked. This kind of authority isn't about position or title. It's not about being the loudest voice in the conversation. It's about walking in alignment with her purpose. She knows who she is, and more importantly, she knows who she's not. That clarity creates a power in her life that others can feel. When she speaks, she doesn't waste words. She builds with them. She heals with them. She corrects with love and leads with humility. Her leadership may not always come with a platform, but it always comes with impact. Wherever she is, things grow. Peace follows her. Wisdom surrounds her. And people take notice. She doesn't need to constantly defend herself or argue her worth. She's learned that real authority is not about being louder, it's about being anchored. She's not tossed by every opinion. She doesn't need validation from every person. Her confidence isn't pride. It's the result of knowing she is walking in something much bigger than herself. Her peace is her defense. Her fruit is her evidence. And her life speaks, even when she says nothing. In a world obsessed with image and influence, a favored woman stands out because she doesn't chase either. Yet somehow, both follow her. People are drawn to her, not to idolize her, but to learn from her. Not because she demands it, but because she carries the weight of purpose. Her authority is gentle but firm, quiet but unmistakable. It doesn't crush others, it lifts them. It doesn't control, it empowers. It is a reflection of the favor on her life. And wherever she goes, people may not be able to explain what she carries, but they know they've encountered something holy. When a woman is favored, it shows, not always in flashy ways, but in quiet strength, divine positioning, and spiritual authority. Her life tells a story of unshakable peace, unexpected doors, meaningful relationships, refined resilience, uncommon wisdom, and a presence that carries weight beyond words. She doesn't have to announce that she is chosen. Her fruit reveals it. She doesn't have to fight for visibility. Her life is marked by purpose. In a world filled with noise, She is a voice of calm. In a culture obsessed with hustle, she walks in grace. She is evidence that favor is not about perfection, but about posture. Not about striving, but about surrender. And if you see even one of these signs in your life, know that you are walking in something sacred. You are not ordinary. You are not overlooked. You are a woman favored. Thank you, message. Thank you so much for your time, your hearts, and your willingness to receive today's word. May every seed planted in this message take root, grow deep, and bear lasting fruit in your life. Stay encouraged, stay grounded, and never forget, you carry something divine. Stay favored, stay faithful, and thank you once again for allowing me to speak into your journey.